Hello, I'm Raichu MGS, or just Raichu, and this series of videos is aimed to help new players who are planning to learn how to speed MGS2 on European Extreme. While this is not a totally comprehensive guide, I will show as many strat variations as possible. The key with learning a UEX or European Extreme, in my opinion, is a keen will to learn and strong patience. It is a difficult run to get the hang of, but I hope these videos can help you on your way just a little bit. So let's begin. The first thing to do is to set your weapon and item selection in the options menu to previous. This will cut down on your menuing dramatically and is a staple of a run on any difficulty. Next up is to ensure that you have either a new game or New Game Plus Plus save file. I'll talk more about the benefits in a later video and the differences. The best way to set up these save files is by completing a planned only run from New Game. This saves a menu in the tanker, but it's not a major thing one way or the other. So we'll start off the run. Like any MGS, it's going to have a lot of cutscenes and codecs. Metal Gear Solid 2 is no exception to that rule. So from the beginning we're going to skip these cutscenes. Once we gain control of Snake, we're going to go immediately right. We're going to run past the guard and we're going to head into Deck A. Once we enter Deck A, there's a number of ways of dealing with the guard, the fastest of which is to turn the corner and shoot him with your M9. Roll into his gunfire to absorb the hit stun and follow up with a second shot, like you're seeing here. You can also wait a moment, run behind him and quickly hold him up. The former is the fastest, riskier approach, the latter is slower but safer. It is your choice which option you take. There are also other strats for this room, but personally I recommend one of those two. In the next area, skip the cutscene ASAP, shoot the enemy ahead, and then double tap the R2 button to cancel the reload animation and shoot him as you move, and proceed to Deck B. This is a bit of a tricky strat to get the hang of, so take your time and practice as much as you need. Once we've reached Deck D, we're going to dive into the mini cutscene and we're going to skip it ASAP. Then we're going to use a distraction shot to grab an off-screen enemy's attention. Hold L1 and fire as Snake turns towards the enemy. This strat is very hard to pull off, and an easier method can be shooting the wall in first person view or trank rolling into the guard from behind. If you miss the distraction and get shot, it's no big deal, as by this point you should still have at least 2/3 of your health, depending on how you tackled Deck A. If you've taken some damage along the way and are one hit from death, you can take the safer trank roll strat to avoid a death. Bear in mind, however, the boss ahead is a one-hit KO or a one-hit kill, so health isn't going into the boss is rather irrelevant. Taking a hit from that guard is about a second of time loss, so it's not really a big deal. And proceed onto the bridge towards the Olga boss fight. Now Olga is a random boss. She can have one of two patterns at the beginning of the fight. She'll either go left around the Tarpaulin, as you're seeing now, or she can go towards Snake, called right Olga. If she goes left, we have the ability to catch her in a loop and avoid a cutscene that's otherwise unskippable. But if she goes right, we can't skip that cutscene. I'll show both scenarios here. and try and explain them as best as I can. So if Olga goes left, you'll go where I went. When you see the exclamation mark or hear her grunt, you'll immediately duck in. Come over here, shoot her as she turns the corner, and then you'll follow up with 3 more successive headshots. This is the fastest way to do the fight, because as I mentioned earlier, you'll skip the unskippable cutscene. However, if luck just isn't on your side and she goes right, you'll run back immediately, pick up the ammo, duck in from her shots, and shoot her twice. Line yourself up. You'll get this cutscene. The difference of the left load and right load is about 7 seconds. And you'll then follow up with 2 more headshots. At this point you can either run forward or back towards the target. Either way, finish the fight in 4 headshots. It is a difficult fight and a scary fight, and it will take practice. And just remember, she is a one-hit KO, so do be careful of her USP shots. Olga is by far one of the more difficult things about getting into European Extreme, but once you've got the hang of her, she's not too bad. At this point we're going to backtrack on our way down to the holes. When you come down from the Olga fight, menu to your USP, pick up that ammo underneath the camera. At this juncture you'll have to distract this guard in some way so that you waste enough time that you can run underneath the camera. Fire a warning shot here so he doesn't shoot at you, and shoot him as you pass him to stop his radio call. Here is a pretty tricky shot to pull off. You want to snipe this guard before he sees you. If you miss, he'll run back, but all you have to do is just run down and shoot him in the head or in the radio. Menu to your camera as you roll down the stairs. The engine room is definitely one of the more difficult areas, so I'll take as much time as I can to explain this. From entry, you want to immediately skip this cutscene, and you want to do it very fast because cycles in the engine room are incredibly tight. You're going to skip the cutscene, head out and hang over this rail. You want to drop down to get this guard moving, shoot him and roll into him to knock him out. This is a very difficult room and it changes upon death, so you really want to clear it. There's 2 ways to refer to the engine room. We can refer to it as fast engine room or slow engine room. Slow engine room is the more common because it's a lot more difficult to get fast engine room than you might think, but with enough practice it's definitely achievable, and I'll try and explain the process for fast engine room as we carry on. So you might have noticed as I was turning the corner, you could see that guard's flashlight. That's effectively a visual indicator that you have moved through the engine room well enough to achieve the fast engine room, that it is possible, it is within your reach. The rest of it is a little more tricky. It starts with, we're going to double shoot and hold up this guard, similar to how we did in Deck A. And then you'll want to bump through him and roll as soon as possible. The very minute you can roll, the very second you can roll as you turn that corner, you want to do it. Because there's a guard way off in the distance. If you'll notice, just up those stairs that you might see just out of the corner of your eye. And he is what we're trying to avoid. That roll helps shield Snake from his sight. It's a very difficult roll to pull off. Fast engine room in general is a very difficult and inconsistent strat. Very few people manage to become consistent with it because, as I said, it's not easy. It does take practice. Don't worry if you don't get it. Really don't let it get to you, because Never mind any other strat I might show you in this tutorial. This is the hardest strat to get in the system. So really don't allow it to disturb you if you can't get it. The guard rush is probably the hardest fight in Tanker. I know I said earlier Olga was, but I was lying. A lot of newcomers definitely struggle with this fight. What I didn't show on the way to guard rush was there is an ammo pack behind the pipes as you enter deck 2 on your way to guard rush. It's the very first set of pipes. This fight is not fun, it's not pleasant, it takes no prisoners. I'm demonstrating a very risky approach to guard rush. That is intentional, and it's mostly to show off that while a lot of the firing and the shots and all the gunfire looks terrifying, it's not, because most of those shots don't even hit you. Definitely when you're learning to use cover to your advantage, the best way to do the fight I think is popping in and out of cover, taking a headshot, popping back in, dealing with them as they strafe towards you. When they're strafing left and right, basically as they're shooting while they're moving, they can't hit you. They should never do. So take that to your advantage. There's 8 guards and then it follows up with a final 3. I shoot those with the USP, and because of the way the game counts and registers kills, they don't count as kills because the fight ends so fast. Because you've shot them in quick succession, the fight cuts and ends before the game even has a chance to register its kills. So it's a nice little strat that I think the RGX came up with. So it's very nice. But definitely practice this fight a lot. Any help you need with it, I'll try my best to help. There's not much I can say about it. It's just one of those kind of things you have to get a feeling for, which I don't like to say in a tutorial, but it's just the unfortunate way of how this fight works. Post guard rush, we're coming up to the last segment of Tanker, and that's the holes. Our objective here, of course, is to snag 4 photos of Metal Gear Ray. I'll be demonstrating a couple of different glitches here. The first one here is ladder glitch. I'm not really going to go in depth and talk about ladder glitch because there's frankly enough tutorials. So you'll do the ladder glitch, shoot the first projector guard by swinging Snake into him, and roll between the second marine and that box. When you enter hole 2, you change the projector immediately. And my preferred way to do this is hold them up and shoot at them while double tapping R2. That's the safest way of doing it, and it's the way I'm most consistent and happy with. This here is the 2-spot camera glitch. So I'm taking 4 photos from 2 separate spots. There's also a 3-spot camera, which again, there's enough guides and videos on 2-spot and 3-spot camera for me not to really warrant any necessary need for me to go into it. This is the same across all difficulties and what have you, so there's no need for me to go crazy into it. But from there you'll have all 4 of your photos. Otacon will tell us that's great. And that's the tanker. So, like I said, I really hope this has helped in some way or another. If there's any more help you need, check out the MGS2 Discord. That's Metal Gear Speedrunners. And happy learning.